Do not get rid of the weight on your chest right now. That pressure you feel when you think about the business, the money, the next move. Most men spend their entire life trying to escape that exact feeling. And that is why most men never build anything worth having. Pressure is not the thing that breaks you. Pressure is proof you are finally playing a game that counts. The men with no pressure are the men with no ambition, no stakes, no skin in anything. You do not need less pressure. You need a completely different relationship with it. Before you keep watching, notice what is happening in your body right now. Your jaw is clenched without you telling it to. Your chest is slightly tight. You are breathing shallower than you were 30 seconds ago. Your stomach has a small knot that was not there when you sat down. And underneath all of it, a low hum of thought is running. What if I cannot pull this off? What if the numbers do not work? What if the people watching me are about to find out I have been bluffing the whole time? What if I have been kidding myself? That hum is the weight. That loop is the reason you came here. Here is what the weight actually is. It is not a malfunction. It is not a signal that something is broken inside you. Pressure is not punishment. It is proof of position. It is not something you need to meditate, or breathe your way out of before every big moment. It is the price of building a life that is bigger than yesterday. Think about the last man you met who had zero pressure in his life. No business he was building, no target he was missing, no people depending on his next move. Now notice how you felt about him in the quiet parts of the conversation. You did not envy him. You felt a little sorry for him. Because on some level you already knew. The absence of pressure is not the evidence of a good life. It is the evidence of a life that stopped being played. The men who feel no pressure are not at peace. They are parked. They sit in the parking lot of their own life, watching other men play on the field, and they call it serenity. The gap between you and them is not talent. It is not luck. It is not genetics. You chose a life with weight on it. They did not. That choice is already the privilege. The stress you feel shows up because stakes exist, and stakes only exist when you are building. Remove the stakes and you remove the pressure, but you also remove the point. The framework you are about to install does not lower the pressure. It changes what your nervous system does with it. 3 reframes. Reframe 1, the empty stadium. Picture a stadium with 80,000 empty seats. No crowd, no cameras, no scoreboard. Just you, alone on the field, playing a game that counts for nothing. Your footsteps echo off the concrete. Your best play goes unrecorded. Your worst mistake goes unwitnessed. There is zero pressure in that stadium. There is also 0 point. Nothing you do there will ever matter because nobody is watching, because nothing is at stake. Now picture that same stadium packed. The lights on, the noise alive. Every decision recorded, every move replayed. The weight hits your chest the second you step on the field. That pressure you feel in the second scenario is not the enemy. It is evidence you earned a stage worth standing on. Pause here. If the stadium reframe is landing, the men inside the 1% Club are running this rewire together. They bring real pitches, real negotiations, real high-stakes decisions into the community and work them out loud before going live. Plus, lifetime access to every VYBO course I have built. School.com/VYBO. Come build with men who do not flinch. Back to it. Now look at your own life. The pressure you feel about the revenue target, the next hire, the cash flow, the launch you have been avoiding. It exists because you chose a game that actually counts. You chose to build. You chose to bet on yourself when the safe option was still on the table. Most men never make that choice. They sit in empty stadiums their entire life and call it peace. But you know the difference between peace and avoidance. Avoidance is quiet for a while. Then it produces the one thing worse than pressure: regret, deep, permanent, compounding. The kind that wakes you up at 4 in the morning 20 years from now and asks what you actually did with the life you were handed. So the next time the weight hits and every instinct tells you to pull back, ask one question. Would you rather feel this or feel nothing at all? Feeling nothing means nothing is at stake. Nothing at stake means nothing is being built. Pressure is the admission fee to a meaningful life. Stop resenting the cost. But understanding pressure is a privilege is only the first shift. The second reframe rewires what your body actually does with the signal. Here Here is something that sounds impossible until you live it. You can change your performance under pressure without changing a single thing about how your body feels. You do not need to calm down. You do not need to breathe into a paper bag before a big meeting. You need to relabel. Because anxiety and excitement produce the exact same physical response. Identical heart rate, identical adrenaline, identical cortisol spike. The only difference between them is what your brain decides the signal means. Think about the last time you felt that surge before a major pitch, a critical negotiation, a decision that could shift your entire year. Your palms got damp, your heart rate climbed, your focus narrowed to a single point. You called that anxiety, but what if you had called it readiness? What if you had said to yourself, my body is preparing me to perform at the highest level right now, instead of, something is wrong and I need to calm down. Same exact sensation, completely different script. The script you choose decides the outcome every single time. Reframe 2. Relabel the signal. Starting tonight, every single time you feel that surge before something important, say one sentence out loud. I am excited about this. Not I am nervous. Not I am stressed. I am excited about this. Your brain will resist the first few times because the old label is a habit, and habits only respond to repetition. Run this for 30 days straight, and you fundamentally rewire how your nervous system processes pressure. This is not a motivational trick. This is neurological reconditioning, and it works. The men who never learn this spend their entire career at half capacity in the exact moments that count most. The pitch, the negotiation, the launch, the conversation that would have changed everything. They choke. Not because they lacked talent, because they mislabeled the signal that was designed to help them win. And the mislabel is not their fault. Nobody taught them. Their father did not teach them. Their schools did not teach them. Their culture told them to calm down when the correct answer was to lean in. You are now one of the few men who actually knows the difference. Now to the reframe most men never find on their own, because it requires looking at something you have been refusing to look at directly. Think about every single moment in your own life where you performed under pressure and it actually worked. The conversation you avoided for a week and then had and nothing broke. The pitch that made your voice shake the first minute and you still got the yes. The decision you were certain would end you, and looking back, it turned out to be the moment everything shifted. You already have the protocol. You have run it dozens of times. You just never gave it a name. Reframe 3. The evidence is already in your history. The reason most men think they cannot handle pressure is not because they cannot. It is because every time they handled it, they gave the credit to something else. They called it luck. They called it timing. They called it the stars lining up. They handed the credit to anything outside themselves. Look honestly at the last 10 years. Every major win came after a moment of pressure you met, not escaped. Every relationship that lasted, every deal that closed, every dollar that compounded, traces back to a version of you that leaned in when your nervous system told you to pull back. That man is still in there. He is not a version you need to become. He is a version you need to stop overriding. Sit with that for a second. Right now, you are running the tape. Specific moments are coming up. A room you walked into when you did not feel ready. A number you said out loud that scared you. A position you held your ground on when everyone expected you to cave. A conversation you thought would end a relationship, and it is the reason that relationship still exists. Your shoulders dropped a little just now. That is the recognition. That is the part of you that already knows. Every reframe on this list is not a new skill. It is an old muscle you have been calling weakness for 10 years. Now to the part most men skip because they think awareness alone will change them. It will not. Insight without installation fades inside 48 hours. You will feel clarity tonight and be back inside the old pattern by Wednesday afternoon. That is not a character problem. It is a systems problem. The reframes only hold if you wire them into a daily action you can run on command. So here is the protocol. 3 steps, 90 seconds. You can run it before any pitch, any meeting, any decision that makes your stomach tighten. Step 1. The label. The instant the pressure surge hits, say it out loud. I am excited about this. Picture the moment. You are in your car, 2 minutes before a call that could change your quarter. Your palms are damp on the steering wheel. Your heart is already ahead of the conversation. You look at the dashboard and you say it out loud, to nobody, in the cab of your car. I am excited about this. Your brain will default to the old fear label. Override it, out loud, every single time. Step 2, the scan. Take 3 seconds and name the specific outcome you are afraid of. Not vague dread, the exact scenario. I am afraid this pitch gets rejected. I am afraid this launch flops. I am afraid this conversation costs me the relationship. Fear loses its grip the second you give it a name. Vague anxiety controls you. Specific identified risk becomes a problem you can solve. Step 3, the anchor. Identify the single next action you need to take. Not the entire plan, not the final outcome, the very next move, and execute it inside 60 seconds, not in an hour, not after you think it over. 60 seconds, because pressure converts into performance the instant it meets action, and it rots into paralysis the instant it meets hesitation. Label, scan, anchor, 90 seconds total. Run this before every pitch, before every difficult conversation, before every launch, before every financial decision that makes your chest tighten. Within 2 weeks, the gap between feeling pressure and performing under pressure starts to shrink. Within 60 days, the conversion runs on autopilot. You stop being someone who survives pressure and become someone who seeks it out. The man who can turn pressure into peak performance in 90 seconds owns every room he walks into, every deal he touches, every moment that actually counts. Your competition does not have this protocol. That is your edge starting tonight. Give yourself 10 seconds right now. Count on your fingers how many high-pressure moments are on your calendar this week that you have already been avoiding in your head. The conversation you keep rehearsing and not having. The ask you have been drafting and not sending. The decision you have been circling and not making. That number is the size of the life you have been postponing. That number is the gap between the man you say you are and the man you actually behave like. And now that you have the protocol, you have no more exits. Now sit with this. Every major opportunity in front of you right now requires pressure execution. Not once, hundreds of times. The business you are scaling, the revenue target you set for this quarter, the client that could change your year, the family decision that has been hanging in the air for months, the identity shift you keep circling but never commit to. Every one of them runs through pressure. And here is what nobody tells you. Pressure compounds. Every time you face it and execute instead of freeze, your capacity expands. Every time you run the protocol and deliver, your confidence does not hold steady. It stacks, like compound interest in an account that never stops growing. One high-pressure moment handled well means nothing on its own. 50 of them over 6 months transforms your identity. 100 over a year builds your reputation. 500 over 5 years builds a man the rest of the world quietly moves out of the way for. The man who delivers when it counts. The man who stays sharp when everyone else panics. That reputation opens doors no amount of networking, marketing, or hoping will ever open. The alternative is the slow shrink. Every time you avoid pressure, your capacity for it gets smaller. The room you will not enter, the number you will not ask for, the conversation you keep rehearsing and never having. Each one is a quiet vote for a smaller life, and those votes compound too, just in the wrong direction. The size of your pressure tolerance is the size of your life. Small tolerance, small results. Small business, small income, small impact. Expand your ability to thrive under pressure and everything else expands with it. Revenue, influence, confidence, legacy. Here is the framework one more time. Pressure is proof you earned a stage worth standing on. Anxiety and excitement are the same signal, and the only difference is what you label it. The evidence that you can handle pressure is already sitting in your own history, hidden under the wrong credit, and the protocol is 90 seconds. Label, scan, anchor. Run it every day for 60 days and watch your entire relationship with pressure change permanently. You already know what kind of man you are. You are not the one who runs from the weight. You are the one who came here to learn how to carry more of it. The question is not whether you can do this. You already have, dozens of times, without knowing what to call it. The question is whether you will run the protocol tomorrow morning before your first real test, or whether you will watch this, nod, Feel the clarity for an hour and let it fade by Wednesday afternoon. You already know which kind of man you are. The only thing left is to act like it. The next time pressure finds you, do not flinch. Lean in. That weight on your chest is the privilege. Earn it. Because the 90-second protocol handles the acute moments. But the 23 hours a day when pressure is not acute are where most men leak all the gains. The reframes fade. The protocol stops firing. Monday morning hits and the old nervous system is running the whole show again. The next video gives you the daily operating system that keeps the protocol wired in between the high-stakes events, so you never rebuild your capacity from scratch every week. Watch it now while the rewire is still active. Close the gap before your old self closes it for you.